you don't get noticed in the first go, it's not a fail. Absolutely not. You keep doing it. Any fields, consistency. If you're not consistent with anything that you do, then you're not going to get any success. You're not going to get where you want to. My foundation has been so strong. If I didn't do that part, then today I wouldn't have been this successful. Don't give the power to anyone to rule your mind. You know, you do you.
Hello and welcome to Vikram's Incredible 1000, the Success Podcast. On this, we look to interview the best of the best and really try to understand what does it take to get extraordinary results at what we do so that we can replicate the same. Today, we have with us one of the best guitarists in the world. She is literally one of the best in the world. She's played alongside some of the best musicians in the world, including Guthrie Govan, Jordan Rudess, Marco Minneman, A.R. Rahman, Zakir Hussain, Prasanna, Nitin Sawhney, and so many more people. It's my honor and my pleasure to have with us today the ultra special, ultra talented, the superbly beautiful Miss Mohini Dey.
Thank you
Mohini,
very
welcome to
much.
the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Mohini, with all of this stuff that you do with music, you've been in the industry now for such a long time, and it's really all about how do you take all of this and how do you put it into a power-packed person that that you have turned into. So I want to know from you, what drives you to be extraordinary and incredible?
I think I drive myself, my mentality, my outlook towards life, the way I deal with things, the way I deal with my professionalism, my family, my own life, the way I walk, my talk. That's what drives me.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like there are certain things that allow you to become the success that you are today?
Certain things are consistency. And another very important thing is being very open-minded and being ready for anything possible to face in life, in whatever field you are in. Could be music, could be you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, any fields. Consistency. If you're not consistent with anything that you do, then you're not going to get any success. You're not going to get where you want to. In my case, I never wanted to get anywhere. I was just doing it. I was just playing. I was enjoying it. I kept doing it. It gave me a lot of peace and happiness. And I just kept doing it. And then it found its own way. One day I started enjoying myself more. And I knew that I want to do this professionally. And that was around the age of, I would say, 12, 13-ish. And that was the time when I started playing with AR, actually. And then until then, I didn't know if I wanted to do this professionally. Always wanted to become a fashion designer, and I applied for a fashion college, and I got selected. I was going to do that, but then I got a job offered by his production team, and I chose to do that because I didn't want my foundation to go waste, and that's how it all happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So, from what you just shared, consistency seems to be a vital factor in bringing it all together.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So, aside from that, you feel that, through this journey that you've gone through, I mean, there are many different callings that one has. And I'd like to know from you, what role has music played in your family? And while you were growing up, what were those influential figures that, pushed you to take up bass guitar? And
Right.
what were some of those factors that really contributed to your success, bringing it all together?
So I feel like music was always a part of my family, having mother as a singer and dad as a bass player. Being brought up in a family which was already so known to the world, it helped me a lot, and it helped me in my upbringing because they knew what they wanted me to do in life. They already knew that, okay, we're going to have two daughters and they're going to be guitarists, one bass guitar player, one guitar player. They had plans set for us, you know. And when parents are so sure about what they want their kids to do, it's a plus point because they are going to work towards the dream that they want to do, right? And as a kid growing up, you don't really have a dream. I didn't have one because I was too busy to find any, you know. I was getting up 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I would be at school till 12:30 p.m. and then come back, have my lunch and do my school homework, private classes homework until like 5 p.m., an hour chill, and then like 6 p.m. my private tutor would come home and go by 8 p.m. And then I'd chill for like another half an hour or so, have my dinner, and then I would do my bass practice, my bass lessons practice. My dad would give me lessons. No matter if he's coming back from like live shows and he comes back home, he's gonna wake me up and make sure that I get my lesson, be it 1 a.m., 2 a.m., doesn't matter. So every day it was that till 12 a.m. is my day-to-day, you know, routine, and I would not get any rest. Like unlike other kids, they got to go to movies with friends or they got to go to shopping with friends. I did not do that, you know. But now I have all this time to myself that I can apply to my routine because I have made and built my life in such a way that I can chill now. You know, my foundation has been so strong. If I didn't do that part, then today I wouldn't have been this successful. I wouldn't have been me today, you know. Forget about being successful, just me as a person. This is an evolved personality from all the experiences that I've been through in life, be it musical experiences, personal experiences, family experiences, friendships, relationships in general, you know, every kind of relationship. So it plays a huge factor when you have a beautiful environment that that is infused with this beautiful lifestyle that you have. Then all you got to do is just understand and educate yourself of what you really want to do in life. When you get to understand that, then you know how you want to apply things, whether you want to go by these rules or whether you want to go by your rules or you want to mix them up. You like some things from there, you like some things from you fuse it up and you decide, you define yourself. Basically, you find your individuality, you know, and everything's very transformative. It doesn't remain the same. Today I am this person, tomorrow I may not be the same person. I would be an evolved personality from the experiences that I've had or the emotions that I've went through, you know. So it all depends. I feel like I'm very, very fortunate to have been brought up in a musical family who understands my mentality, my outlook, and the way I look at things because they do the same. Is there a generation gap? Hell yeah, absolutely. There's always going to be there. That's normal, but you just got to find ways to explain to them and prove to them that this is just how it is and you got to cope up with the changing times, you know. And then if you don't, then there's going to be somebody else or the position is going to be taken away or you will be too backwards, you know. So yeah, there are ups and downs, but you got to decide what you want for yourself, and one wrong decision can just ruin your life, so you have to be very, very careful.
So, among the things that you mentioned, the evolution that has taken place and made you the person that you are today, at the very beginning, would you say that you just picked it up from a whim that pushed you to want to take up the guitar, or was it something more about, they said, hey, you got to do this and you got to put in the effort, you got to be really good at what you do? Because many of the time we find a lot of Indian parents, they tend to push their kids towards doing something just because they want to see them succeed. So did you feel at any point something like this happened with you, or was it something that naturally came to you and you
See,
truly enjoyed it?
everything, I believe in every generation, there is an evolution of sorts in all fields. But at certain times in history, there is a paradigm shift that happens through our languages, through our cultures, through us as people, and that's always going to be there. And it has been happening through our music as well. And when you hear a lot of people's music, you will see everything evolve, just as how we evolve, how our communication skills evolve. I'm not going to speak the same way to you the way I'm doing now, or maybe tomorrow, or before. If I was speaking to you, I would have not been this comfortable, right? So everything has a shift and dynamic and fluctuation. And that is important to be there. People having struggle to find their voice, people having struggle to find their individuality, people having struggle getting demotivated by all the things that they hear around. That's normal, but you got to stand up for yourself at the end of the day. Nobody's going to stand up for you, right? Like, say for example, you're in a relationship, you're hurt badly because somebody said something really bad to you. Who's going to stand up for you? You, your parents, or your friends? You have to do that. Nobody's going to go tell your girlfriend or boyfriend, say that, hey, I'm not going to do this. You have to do it yourself. So it's the same way with life. Your life and you have this beautiful relationship. Do you want it? You have to want it so hard. You have to be so hungry and devoted and invest in yourself and your life. You show love, you get love. It's like, I have this beautiful hair. I show love. That's why it grows. You show love to your work, it will grow. It's that simple as possible.
Hmm. Beautiful philosophy right there. Hmm. So, what I'd like to ask of you now is, as a composer, when you pick up your guitar,
Mhm.
what goes through your mind? What do you feel?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just, I think I just get, it's like, for me, music is like a river. I just flow with it.
Hmm.
There were times back in the earlier days when I started playing my bass, there were times when I was overthinking and I didn't know what to do. I wanted to set an approach or, kind of have these things laid down for myself so I know which direction to go to. But now I don't do that because I feel like we as humans, we have this subconscious nature in our head. We know what we are good at, and we know that, oh, I can play this lick very well, oh, I can play this chops very well, I want to show this and that, and you will do that no matter what. So now I'm this person who doesn't think about all this at all. I just let it flow. I'll just go with the flow wherever my instrument takes me, and I don't warm up anymore. I just wait for the call when I feel like, okay, this melody is really nice, or this makes me feel good, or I went through something, I met someone, and it made me feel good about myself, or I heard something that made me feel good about something. I want to write about it. It just, it's natural. I think it's a gift, and I'm very blessed with it.
Truly, I think anyone who has Googled you, and if you're listening to this and you haven't seen her play, I definitely encourage you to just Google her and just watch her shred away. I want to know also, do you look to accomplish when you're trying to compose a song, when you're trying to put these pieces together? Maybe you have one piece of music that you maybe composed like many months ago, and then you're now trying to integrate it with something that you've done more recently, and now it sounds so much more evolved, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
So when you're trying to put together a song, is there certain things that you try to accomplish, or is it again the flow factor that allows it all just to come together? What's your take on this?
Sometimes what happens is, since we live in a digital world, if I may say, and today's youth is so fascinated and inclined towards the EDM and techno and electronica and heavy metal rock music, it's very hard for music directors, composers, producers to produce a product which is something informative or something educating to the society. We want our audience to be more educated in terms of music, right? We want them to hear different kinds of genres. We want them to hear different kinds of sides, which we know as musicians, because we are educated and cultured about what we do, right? Because we have experience in this field. But in today's times, like I mentioned, since we live in a digital world and the youth is so fascinated to this techno electronica world, every music that has been released today is just going towards that direction. The melody is not very, it's not out there. The focus is more on the groove part, which is fine, absolutely fine. Some places it works, but when I'm writing my music, I don't care about all these things. I only care about how I feel. If it makes me feel good, then audience is gonna like it because people love me as a whole package, right? So if I like myself and if I believe in myself, I don't care if other people believe in me. I gotta believe in myself, and that's how I've always been, you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like everybody should do the same. If you don't believe in yourself, then nobody's gonna believe in you. That's the first step. And to answer your question, do I get carried away by these pressures or do I get carried away by any kind of thoughts when I'm writing music? Not at all. I don't even give those thoughts. When I'm writing music, I just look for this meditative state or like a healing point, which makes me feel good. When it hits the spot, I know this is it and I'm not going to mess with it.
Mm-hmm. On that note, in today's world and with your own playing, how much does technicality play a role when you're trying to compose?
See, I believe that the most transformative and effective creations are when the technique is mastered. But a technique can hit the wall, so to speak, the ability to get better, and it is hard. Um, there has to be a perfect balance of technique and soul. If it's just soul, amazing. But if you want to be versatile, if you want to fit into every kind of background, if you want to be an LA musician, like a session artist, then you got to understand that you have to have everything. Otherwise, they will not call you. And we live in India, which is culturally so diverse, right? We have so many languages, so many different kinds of tastes, so many different kinds of styles. We have foreigners living in here. We have everything. We're like this fusion world, you know? And so you can imagine how hard it gets, you know? So it's very important for people to like understand it's not always about technique. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be there. Now there are different sides to technique. There is constructive, and then there is technique which helps you play better. Like there are finger techniques which can help you in your intonation. There are slapping techniques which can help you um, notch up the brilliance in your tone or notch up the high mids in your tone. There are specific techniques like that. And then the other techniques are more inclined towards licks, chops, triplets, quadruplets, quintuplets, paradiddles, you know, all these kind of stuff. And that, I don't think it's necessary, but I think people want the gimmick, people want the whole thing. I get it, but I feel like people should not go for that at first. People should learn harmonic theory first. People should
Mm-hmm.
learn how to solo over changes. People should learn to understand inversions, learn to read and write. And when you can express yourself, when this head and your instrument, which is your voice, it's like I'm talking to you, right? I'm I'm not gonna sound like you. You're not gonna sound like me because I have a different voice altogether. My language, my phrasing is totally different than yours, right? And it all depends on how you've been brought up, what people you've been hanging out with, and everything. I've been hanging out with my bass, so it listens to me. The more you hang out with the right people, the more you hang
Mm-hmm.
out with your voice, the better you get to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I spent sleepless nights. I spent hours and hours with my instrument to understand and to get the sync right so I can talk through my instrument and not have to think about it at all. So when I'm talking to you, I'm not thinking about letters, A, B, C, D, or phrasings. No, I'm just expressing myself as at the best way as possible, to the best extent as possible, right? To my capability. And oh, you get better every day. The more you do it, you get better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Beautifully, beautifully phrased. I think a lot to take away from what you just shared. On the note of the shifting times and how the trends are changing with regard to how music is itself evolving as a career, I'd like to know from you, since you've been there and done that,
Mm.
how does one start a career as a musician in India and what does it take to reach the top? According to you, what does it
Everybody's
take?
journey is very different. Everybody's journey is different. Like I said, I was brought up in a musical family, so learning music was slightly easier for me compared to a person who probably was not born in a musical family, right? And there are different types of life stories. There are people who have not been brought up in musical families and they want to do music and parents are not supportive, or vice versa. There are children where the parents are musicians, but they don't want their child to do, music. There are different kinds of stories. There are people who come from small towns, big towns, or studied in music colleges and still don't have work, right? Because they spent like 5 years in college, and then when they, get out of college, they don't have work because they don't have contacts, right? So there are different kinds of stories. It all depends on making the right decision, like I said, keeping up with time and learning what works at that very time. Don't think about the future, don't think about the past, just live in the present. And that's always been me. I'm only going to share from my experience. Everybody's, like I said, experiences are different, and everybody has their own way of dealing things, own way of looking at things. It may not be the same as mine, so you just got to find it for yourself. Like, it's the same with techniques. Like, if I show you one technique, it might not work for you. You might find your own technique and play the same thing and sound the same. It just works for you, your body type. So that we have different mind types as well. So if you can express the same thing with your capability, your caliber, then it's good. So you just got to find what's right for you.
In translating what you just shared now, what if someone was a struggling musician and they were trying to make ends meet and at the same time trying to follow their passion and really play what they truly cared about, what they loved? How would the two worlds meet, and how would they face the
We are
challenges
very
of today's
lucky to
musical
have
world?
it, right. We are very lucky to have internet in today's time. We have this huge platform called social media. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, I don't know what not. I only use Facebook and Instagram, okay? So there's so much to give. Your talent, if you're talented, it will not go waste. It will not go unseen. Absolutely not. If you're good, you will be seen. The shittiest of the shittiest videos get millions and millions of views. So if you're really good, it will get views. That's how I put myself out there. I started putting videos from a very, very young age. Like, even if it's just 5 second, 10-second videos when I'm practicing or taking lessons, I always used to put it out there. And that's how I got the recognition that, oh, there's this little girl, she's a girl playing the bass and she's Indian, which is very, very unusual, right? So if you're unique, people gonna notice you. That's just normal, right? So I would say, make use of this platform to the most, because now is the time. We're becoming more and more digital with this pandemic situation. I feel like people should use it the right way and educate themselves to market and present themselves in the best way possible, because I don't think people understand that it's the whole thing. It's not just the playing. It's you as a person, your personality, your look, which comes much later. It's the last point on the list. The first thing is your playing. If you're good, you will get noticed. And then the second is your professionalism, how well you know the world. If you're experienced or not, I can understand if they're struggling musician, then it's hard, yeah. But social media, everybody knows. Who doesn't know? Like, everybody can make an account and just post videos, right? So that now there are like so many things that you can do. You can boost your post, you can share it with other people, or make a page of yourself and just put content. Like, don't even think about it. Don't even think about making your originals or anything. People are just putting out covers, the music that they like, and interpret it differently. Put your own interpretation out there, and people will notice you if you're really good. But before that comes the foundation, which is very, very important. People think that they're good, which is not bad. Believe in yourself. But if you don't get noticed in the first go, it's not a fail. Absolutely not. You keep doing it. I didn't get here in 1 year. No, I'm 24 today. I started when I was 9 years old. So it's a long journey. It's been 16 years I've been professionally working in this industry, and it takes time. There's no shortcut out there.
In relation to bringing out your own flavor of music and speaking about the foundation that goes into creating an amazing musician, what do you feel is the role of a guitar teacher in the development of a guitar player? And my
How
question
important it
is,
is to have a bass tutor or what?
having anyone be a mentor to you uh, in your initial years as you evolve as a musician.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
would you
Even if you don't
recommend?
have a mentor, like a person sitting right next to you in front of you and giving you like lessons straight up, which I've never done. I've never got like, 6, 7 hours of lessons from somebody. Even my father, he would just leave me with the instrument and just be like, okay, this is an exercise you do, and then the rest is on you. What you want to do, you do. He would put on a CD of like weather report or like, Dave Weckel or Chick Corea, and the funnest of the funnest music and the most complicated ones. He'll just put it on the DVD player and it would be running on the TV and I would rewind. I'd like something, I'll pick it up. I learned it the hard way. And I think that's why my ears are very, very strong. I can hear the most, silent things. And I feel like that growth, that evolvement, which I mentioned earlier, has to be there with everybody. And to answer your question, I would say it's very, very important to hang out with the right people, even if it's just going to a concert and somebody of your liking, somebody who's your idol is playing in that concert, go pay and watch that concert. Just watching somebody that you love and that you've been listening to, it educates a lot, even if it's just seeing in person on stage, just playing. It's amazing. I was fortunate to have these encounters because I made the effort. I went to these concerts. I even went to rehearsals where I was not a part of the band, where I was not a part of the show, but I'd be like, hey, uncle, mostly Ranjit uncle, because, he's like my second father. And my father introduced me to him when I was 12 years old, and he took me there. And so from that time, he took me under his wings. And there were times when I could not make it because of my school, days. But after school, if I could make it, I would straight from the school go to his rehearsals, even when I was not playing. I'd go and sit, and there were bass players like, Jonas Hellborg, Dominic DiPiazza, and so many more. I'd just sit there and just watch them play. That is a big, big, big thing. If you can do that, and if you get an opportunity like that to just sit there and watch them closely, you learn a lot. You learn a lot. And thanks to the internet, that computer came in and everything after a while, and then I got hooked onto internet, and then I started watching Victor Wooten, and that gave me a whole another perspective to music. Like, oh my god, I started thinking like, oh my god, bass can be actually played like a drums. Bass can be played in so many different ways. It's such a unlimited instrument. Like, it has so many dynamics. You can literally make it sound like a flamenco guitar or like a guitar. Just put on a little distortion or a little chorus. You can make it sound like drums, like not exactly like drums, but you can actually drum on the bass. Like, you can make patterns and stuff. So I started constructing ways, obviously got inspired by Victor, and I started picking up his solos, and that was very, very informative. So that would take like 8, 9 hours in a day, just sitting in front of the computer and just, trying to hear every note, learning and copying. Basically, copying is the first step. I would just play along, and then when I feel like, oh, I'm playing it right, and then the second step is adding my own voice. So I will like fiddle around and add some little things around it, and the third step is on the same form, do what you can. And the best way to do that actually is to challenge yourself. Sometimes it's better to not know the music. Sometimes just put on a radio and just play along with it. That's the best way you can do, because you don't know. It's important to shock your subconscious nature. That way you train your mind to not get shocked anymore and feel more natural. Like, whatever is thrown at you, if you're called in a concert at 2 a.m. at night or like 11 p.m. or a morning concert, you no rehearsals, no charts, you just go there, here, play. It's like having a conversation. So yeah, that's how you do it.
Hmm. That's really nice. I can definitely see that the inspiration was there at a very early stage because, of course, your father and your mother were both musicians, and you were also surrounded by a lot of great professional musicians, and that may have played a big role in pushing you to, really want to go hard at it and really practice hard and try to improve and get really good. And that's, I
Absolutely.
believe, played a
Everybody that I've
yeah.
played with, starting from A.R. Rahman, to Sridhar Parthasarathi, Niladri Kumar, all the national musicians that I've played. And then I got the Western recognition, my fame started increasing because I joined, Guthrie Govan's band. And then like I played on albums having Vinny Colaiudia on it. And then like so many other musicians I played with, Alex Lifeson from Rush, and so many encounters. And it's very, very overwhelming when I say all these things because I never demanded or even think about all these things when I was growing up. I was just playing, like I said, and everything just happened, and more good things to come. I just keep doing what I'm doing at my best, and I keep getting better every day. That's what I want to do. I love it. It makes me happy. And I'm writing my music now. It's gonna release very, very soon. So hopefully my fans will get to hear that probably this
Mm-hmm.
month. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. That's really nice. So, just to put you on the spot for a moment, would you recommend that someone go to music school or just surrender to one mentor?
Again, it depends. From if not a lot of people have the funds to go to music school, it's expensive, right? And the second is if you already have a musical background, like having parents as musicians, plus point, great. Learn whatever you can at home. And then
Mhm.
second thing, go to musicians who you think are better, which I did, right? I went to other people that I feel like know a little bit more than what I already got. Doesn't mean like they don't know anything, they know a lot, but then you get stuck at a point, you feel like you can get much better and take other people's opinions and advices which can help you. So I did that. If you have the access to that, great. If not, then you go to music school. And if not, now you have Skype lessons. Just reach out to any musician that you like. I give Skype lessons. There are so many other musicians, incredible musicians, who give Skype lessons and do these online YouTube lessons. Just go on YouTube. Internet is the biggest education in today's time. There's nothing that you can't find on the internet. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
based on what you
decide for
shared,
yourself. Yeah.
absolutely. And I do believe that there is a solution for every roadblock or every problem that you may come across in your own journey. So
Absolutely.
beautifully
I
put.
feel like it's very important to have the experience in real life because in music schools, I feel like you're in four walls and then you're only playing with people you know. You're not really getting out there and getting to know how the world actually works because every place is different. Every person is different. Every country's style of working is different. So if you don't get out there, you don't know how to communicate, right? Because you are
Mm-hmm.
like, used to this one pattern in school, when to come, what to play, this is gonna click, and blah, blah, blah. And we have been brought up in the real world. So we have the, I don't know, experience of understanding a person better. And I feel like I can judge a person and give what they want. And that's why I feel like people who are amazing, like A.R. Rahman and all these other musicians that I've played with, this Japanese band that I recently played with, even though I don't understand the music, they feel like I understand them very well at the first go. So I guess I have a good judgment of what the producer or composer wants or the director wants, and I give it to them right away. They don't have to waste time. Like AR tells me, this is what I'm looking for. Sometimes he'll give me no brief at all. I'm in the recording studio and he'll be like, just do whatever you feel like. Just look at the scene and do whatever you feel like. I'll ask him what scale. He'll be like, I don't know, just do it. Absolutely no brief. So there will be times like that, and you just have to find what to do and you give it a shot, and then he likes it. Amazing. And then he gets like a direction where to go. And I feel like I fall in the category of musicians where I'm more of a creator and not a musician. I believe in creativity. And that's why people like AR, they like working with me because he gets directions, new directions from my kind of playing, which is very, very, I don't know. You can call it, some people call it jazz. I don't like to call myself a jazz artist. I like to call myself half versatile and like a little bit of everything. So yeah, maybe versatile, but I'm like a fusion of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm an Indian, I grew up playing Hindustani, Carnatic music, and then in the West I played jazz, and I also used to play in clubs Friday, Saturday nights with Uncle Louis here, and then in the US I'm playing this heavy metal rock and pop music, R&B music, and then with this Japanese band is like heavy pop, just grooving. So I guess it's everything. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be versatile to not be successful. You don't have to be versatile to be successful. You can be successful in whatever genre you like, but I feel like since I have the knowledge of, like, not full but a little bit of knowledge, little bits of knowledge from every side, I feel like I'm very good at understanding people. So that's something that helps me get called for work. You can say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a strong relationship here between not just being a great musician, but also understanding the dynamics of the industry, how things work, and having the
Absolutely.
exposure.
Exposure will come if you put yourself out there. Experience will only come when you put yourself out there in person.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, what I understood from that is, it's like it's not just being a musician in the sense like I can see that you're a very creative person, and that creativity just comes out in the different dynamics of different things that
Yes.
you do.
Yes, even in life, I'm very, very creative. I love interior designing. I'm very organized. I like things like in right places, and I do my outfits. Stitch my outfits. I design my outfits and my shoes and everything. I like that whole package. I like to live in a vibey place. So everything that is creative is something that I'm interested in.
Hmm. Clearly, I think it speaks not only to your soul, but everyone else who comes across your work. Now, I'd
Right.
like to get into something a little different. Mental health is such an ignored topic in the music and entertainment industry. And of course, it's getting some recognition now. But with
Hmm.
the challenges of touring, practicing, trying to maintain a connection with your family and friends, how do you keep yourself balanced? Care to share
Hmm.
your thoughts on this?
Another good question. Um, I feel like you have to be happy with yourself first to be able to keep the environment safe and not make other people feel unhappy, because your energy you will pass on to somebody else. So if you're having something bad in your life going on, don't let the other person know. I don't do that, you know? At least not anymore. Like if you're in a relationship, it's fine, but because that's the only person you can share everything with, right? But I feel like if you're in the workspace and you have friends, I feel like it's important to make sure that the others are happy first, because your life stories may be too insensitive for them sometimes, because you don't know what energy they're putting off them to you, but you know what you're putting off to them from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to realize that some things are just meant to be kept to you and inside you, and just find a way to deal with it or substitute it with something like, even if it's like fighting a pillow or something. For me, it's playing the bass every time. Like I would break strings, I'd pop them. It's hard, but like yeah, bleeding and stuff, but that's how I fight my emotions. Even if I'm happy, I'd be like, okay, let's listen to this music, I want to play with it, I like playing this. Or if I'm sad, I'm depressed, then I go back to bass. Bass is something that's always been my, I don't know, you
Your
can
drug,
say
your go-to
husband.
thing.
No, husband, you can say. Bass is my first husband, and bass is my first love, my first love. Um, that's something that always has uh, stood up for me, has always like been there throughout my journey all the time. So I feel like you have to find something, even if it's not someone, you have to find something that helps you keep yourself motivated and helps you keep you happy. Like for me, even the smallest of the smallest things, like putting some glitter on the floor. I don't know, it's funny probably, but I love glitter. I love sparkle. So if I'm sad or anything, I'll just go get myself a packet of glitter. Yeah, I do that. And I'd probably like decorate my shoes or my clothes, and I just want to see glitter. That makes me happy. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody has something in their life that they enjoy doing or feel happy about. They just have to think about it when they're in those low times, I feel like, because that is going to help them overcome those feelings. Don't give the power to anyone to rule your mind. You know, you do you. Okay. So that is very important for all my girls out there, mostly. Most
Mhm.
importantly, it's very
Mhm.
important for girls to remember that. Don't give your power to someone to rule your mind.
Mhm. Wonderful. Um, among the things that you shared, I feel somewhere that the passion or the love, the hate, the anger, the hubris nature, or whatever the emotion that you might be going through at any point of time, if you go to your instrument or you go towards music, I think it always has this feedback mechanism where whatever you put out there, the instrument or whatever creativity you try to put out, it usually comes back in the form of some love. Would you agree with me on this?
Sometimes it comes back in the form of love. Sometimes it can come back in the form of failure. Sometimes it can come back in the form of sadness. It can happen in different
Mhm.
forms, obviously. You won't get a direct answer or a direct direction. No, you
Mhm.
won't get that. But yeah, it depends what kind of circumstances you're in.
I think in relation to what you just said now, somewhere wherever we get something back from music, I think it's how we move, how we take that piece of information or how we take that response that we get either from our instrument or whatever it might be, and how we build our perception of it, and that's how you fill your fill your mind with all of the necessary thoughts to help you improve and become a better person.
Sometimes it's the other way around. Whatever experiences you go through in life, it comes out through your playing. Sometimes you play so much that you start seeing those colors in your life, right?
Hmm.
Because it makes you happy. That itself is a color. Sometimes it can make you sad. So vice versa. It works out differently for different people.
Hmm. Lovely. So now moving on to the next thing that I'd like to ask of you. Many people sometimes struggle with performance anxiety when they're on stage. So what's your mindset like when you're playing in front of huge audiences, and what would you recommend other musicians do so that they can ease themselves in such situations where they may be nervous? What do you recommend people do to better control their emotions?
Again, it's different for different people. You gotta, have something that makes you feel safe, comfortable in those kind of situations. Not exactly happy, but more safe in these kind of situations. I still get nervous. I still get hyper sometimes. I still get scared sometimes getting up on stage. But when I get up on stage, I feel like a diva. But before getting up on stage, I do get butterflies, even now. Not always, but sometimes, like if I'm playing in front of like 90,000 people. But obviously, I'm not going to tell my bandmates that, oh shit, I'm scared, I'm afraid. No, of course not. It's just in my head. But somehow it just, I don't know, I feel like, um, again, like it works out differently for different people. So I feel like you have to find what makes you weak, and you have to find what makes you feel comfortable and safe. So what I do is sometimes, I mean, there's no really literal way of finding what works. Not at all. I still haven't found one. But what I do is I drink lots of water, and I make sure I have some sweets because that just makes me feel lighter in my head. And even throughout the whole concert, I'll be constantly drinking water. Although, like I said, when I step on stage, then the fear is gone. But if the stuff is a little bit complicated, then sometimes I get nervous. If it's easy, then not so much. Um, like if I'm playing with AR and stuff, then I'm cool. But like if I'm playing, like say for example, this Japanese band that I recently joined in, because it's like the first time I did something like that, and it's a way more bigger production, and there's a lot of head banging and standing on heels and running around on stage, just like proper choreography and everything. So it's not just about what you're playing, it's about your performance value as well, the way you look, the way you carry and everything. Your hair has to be perfect, your body has to be perfect and everything. So those times I feel like it's kind of like a kick in the ass, and that like pushes me to present myself much better and feel more confident. And the more you do it, the more confident you get. But if you ask me, is there a time you will not feel those feelings? I don't know. I still feel it. I guess it's a good thing, because if I don't feel those emotions, then I will not do better. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
feel like it's important for when I don't get nervous, I get scared that, oh shit, something is wrong. And when I get nervous, those nights are the best nights.
Hmm. So you take that energy and you use it towards projecting a better part of yourself. Amazing.
I don't use it necessarily. I wouldn't use the word use, but I feel like it just happens. It's just a
Hmm.
subconscious nature in the body that it's like a feeling that I get that I have to do my best. It's that
Mm.
like it's the interest and hunger of doing my, I don't know, 100%, 200%, even better, better and better day by day, you know. I think that's what drives me every single time, and not feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
Hmm. Lovely, lovely. So, on that note of, trying to be your best, you've played alongside some of the best musicians in the world. And I'd like to
Mhm.
know from you, also on your talk show, What a Mellophile Wants.
Mm,
Sometimes, you get these key lessons from these people, and I'm sure there's so much that you pick up. But
mhm.
are there some specific key lessons that you'd like to share that you've gained from some of these legendary musicians?
With every artist, it's so many different things. Like everybody has so many different stories, you know. I myself have a different journey. They have a different journey. The way they pick up music or picked up music is so different, you know. So there are so many things. I've done like 20 episodes now, you know, and there's so many more to come. I think the one common thing that we all have in common is dedication, you know, and we're all very true to our work. We're not unfaithful, you know.
Hmm.
We want to do better every single day. We want to work. That's the first thing we do, and everything else comes later. So that's one common thing, and I feel like everybody should learn to do that and devote themselves completely in something that they really want to do. Yeah.
Hmm. Do you ever get starstruck when you're on stage or when you're interacting with these people?
No, I've never been starstruck. It's so funny. Like maybe because I've always been like brought up in an environment where I've always uh, grown up looking at all these stars around me, you know, like Bollywood movie stars and having them sit in the audience. That's why, and I never really watched like Bollywood movies that much. Few of them, yes. So I know like who's Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan and you know blah blah blah, but never starstruck. When it comes to musicians, I think I will be starstruck one day if I get to see Bruno Mars one day because he's somebody that I'd love to work with someday, you know. But apart from that, I've never been starstruck, which is
Hmm.
so strange.
On the flip side, has anyone been starstruck when they've been working with you?
Okay, that's something I shouldn't be answering that question. Maybe you should ask them. But yeah, definitely. A lot of people, a lot of people. Yeah.
Hmm. Amazing. So, one final question. Where do you
Yeah.
see yourself in 10 years? And is there a goal, a life goal that you have as a musician?
Like I said earlier, I've never had any goals or dreams in my life. Everything just came to me like it was already scripted. I'm just a servant of God. Like I feel like I'm just getting, you know, I'm in this river in this boat. I'm just flowing where He's taking me. And I see all these things that come to me as challenges. And I love challenges, like anything competitive. I'm very competitive, you know. So I love challenges and I fight back, but in a good way, not like fight back, but like I love challenges and I want to prove myself that oh I can do this and I can do better. Maybe I like this, maybe you like this more too, you know, you would like this. So I like to give people a different aspect to look at. I like to give people a different direction that you can use to look at. So from my experience, and they would do the same, you know. So I like that whole process. where do I self where do I see myself in the next 10 years? I don't know. I don't want to know. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll be happy wherever I am as long as I'm doing music.
Lovely. I think that's a beautiful way to cap off this amazing, amazing talk. Just want to say thank you, Mohini, for coming on the show. Guys, if you're listening to this and you're really keen on understanding the dynamics of music, go check her out on YouTube. I'll be dropping her handles below. Go and subscribe, go follow, give her some love, and really support amazing musicians like this, prodigies who are really taking the world by storm. On that note, Mohini, I just want to ask you one last thing. everyone speaks of success, everyone wishes success in their life. Is there one action step that you would recommend the people who are listening that they should take today that will take them one step closer towards success?
Hmm. I'll give them a piece of my learning. I don't believe in luck. I feel like your destiny is in your hands. So use your hands in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
That
Wonderful.
means in a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
People who are deep would understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what part does the heart play along? I mean, role does the heart play along with your hands?
Heart is in something that you want to do seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you want to do and take lightly, your heart is never going to be there. Probably it's not even there yet, you know. You have to find it, and it's not an easy journey. You may be fascinated and interested in a lot of things, but you just have to find it. Either by watching stuff, either by hanging out with people, or either by, I don't know. There are so many ways. So, but like I said, your destiny is in your hands, and the moment your hands go in the right place where what you really want to do, your heart will be there. When you know, when you believe this whole quote that I just said, I feel like your heart is already into something and that's why you believe so. You know, it's the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. So, for those of you listening, if you're interested in jumping in and understanding the secrets of success, jump in on my next webinar. And if you're looking for more amazing talks like this, jump in on the next episode of Vikram's Incredible 1000, the Success Podcast. Until then, this is Mohini and myself signing off, and we'll see you next time.